This little suit here could save you minutes in your next triathlon. It's called a swimskin, and whilst it may not get as much hype as things like wetsuits and bikes, this may be the best kept secret when it comes to triathlon gear. So today, I'm going to run through exactly what a swimskin is, how much time it could potentially save you, when you can legally use one, and whether you should invest in one for your coming races. So what actually is a swimskin? Well, think of it as a super thin hydrodynamic piece of kit that sits over the top of your tri-suit and all your triathlon kit. And often they'll have a hydrophobic coating on them, meaning basically the water just runs off these things. Now, unlike a wetsuit, it's not made of neoprene, it's not for buoyancy, and it's not for warmth. This is solely to reduce your drag through the water. Your tri-suits, they'll have pocket seams, often made of materials that are really breathable. They're not made with their sole purpose for swimming. So this sits over the top of that, compresses everything, and basically tries to reduce your drag through the water and make you swim through as efficiently as possible. Okay, so now for the part that everyone wants to know. How much faster do they actually make you? Well, studies and real-world data have actually shown that it could be anywhere in the region of 30 seconds to over a minute saved over a 1,500-metre swim. And obviously over a half-distance or a full-distance triathlon, that can add up to several minutes. Now, for most age groupers, that can be the difference between making a swim cut-off or not. Or for competitive age groupers or athletes, that can be the difference between a podium finish or not. So whilst it may not magically give you Michael Phelps' stroke, it will give you free speed. And in triathlon, that's gold. Now, there are rules. Swimskins are only allowed in non-wetsuit races. That means that when the water temperature is too warm for the wetsuits, but it's still legal to swim without buoyancy aids. Now, based on Ironman and World Triathlon rules, that's when the water temperature is above 24.5 degrees Celsius or 76.1 degrees Fahrenheit. And in those conditions, you will pretty much see every competitive athlete wearing a swimskin. That said, they are not compulsory. You absolutely can just wear your tri-suit and be done with that, and that is absolutely fine. But as I mentioned already, they are faster. So how do you wear and use one of these swimskins? Yeah, I know it might sound like a really obvious answer, but actually there's a lot more to this than first meets the eye. So firstly, a swimskin is really only intended for the swim. It's made from these hydrophobic materials with hydrophobic coatings. They are not breathable like your ordinary tri-suit. So the idea is that you would remove this in transition, in the first transition, as you would ordinarily with your wetsuit. Now, moving on then, you do have options as to how you wear both your swimskin and your tri-suit in combination with one another. So firstly, you could go with the setup like I've got here, and you'll see a lot of people doing this. They've got their tri-suit fully pulled up, zipped up, whether it's sleeved or not, and then they can just whip their swimskin off in transition. The next option, and you'll often see a lot of the pros doing this, is that they'll have their tri-suit rolled down underneath their swimskin. And mostly the reason for this is when they've got a sleeved tri-suit and they want to basically give themselves a little bit more freedom through their shoulders, or also because these materials aren't really designed with swimming without a wetsuit in mind. So they've rolled it down so it's not exposed and creating an extra drag. The only thing then is that when you're going through transition, you'll have to pull your swimskin down and then try and get your tri-suit on as you run into your bike, which is a lot easier said than done. So do you really need one? Well, I certainly don't need any convincing on this matter. I've been sold on them for years, and they've only advanced even more, which blows my mind because I really thought there was very little you could add to these suits. They just need to be hydrophobic so you slip through the water. But now they've got even more structure to them. They hold you better. They've got materials that stretch in one direction and not the other. It's quite amazing. Now, saying all of that, if you're relatively new to triathlon and swimming, to be honest, I would say just focus on your technique for now. That's all you need to do. Don't worry about swimskins. But if you're looking to be competitive, or you're doing long distance races or looking to perform in your age group, then a swimskin is probably one of the best investments you will make. Granted, they're not cheap. Most good ones actually range from around $200 to $400. But for a piece of gear that could save you minutes without extra training, well, many athletes consider it worth every penny. And if you look at the pros, it's basically universal. If the race isn't wetsuit legal, they are all wearing swimskins. Also, depending on where you live, it's unlikely you're going to be wearing one of these every other weekend. So providing you rinse it off well in cold water after you've used it, you store it well, you should get a lot of life out of one of these. Now, when it does come to trying one of these on and getting fitted up for it, they are tight, so don't be surprised if it feels quite tight initially, but you should still be able to breathe. And then when you do have one, make sure you do practice removing it as you would in prep for T1. So is the swimskin going to magically fix your stroke? No. But if you're looking for one of the easiest ways to get free speed in the swim when it's non-wetsuit, well, this is it. If you've worn a swimskin before, let us know in the comment section down below and what your experience of it is. If you're still on the fence and you've got any questions, also get involved in the comment section down below. If you want any other tips on swimming, make sure you check our channel out and make sure you're subscribed if not doing so already. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up, give it a like. See you next time.